I'm going to start work on the skirt. So to do that, I'm going to have to chain a length that wraps around my back and attaches at the other side. So I've got 46 stitches right now. I need 140 for me. So what you're going to want to do is just chain a length, wrap it around your back, and it needs to sit sort of snug but comfortable, because when you start to put in the double crochets, it increases the stretch. So it will sort of space out more. So don't make it too loose, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain my, so I need 140, so I need 94 chains. So I'm going to chain 94. I'll meet back up with you when I've chained 94, and we'll talk about what to do next. Alright, so I've chained my 140 chains. Now what I want to do is, turning it around, I want to attach it to the other side. So to do that, all we do is slip stitch into the top of the chain one at the beginning of that row. So slip stitch into that stitch, and here we are. That we've joined our skirt. Okay, so what we need to do next is we need to chain up 2. Then we're turning the work. So I'm going to be doing back and forth every time I chain up. I'm going to be turning the work, and I do that because it stops the seam from drifting to the side, and it's also going to maintain the continuity of the pattern, so it's all going to look the same. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now what we're doing is we're going back in the other direction. What I like to do, and I'm probably going to need another hook to begin this. So I've got 94 stitches that I'm going to be putting double crochet, or chains that I'm going to be putting double crochets into that chain. And I like to go along the chain at the back there, working into the bump on the back of the chain instead of the V that's on the top. So what I mean by that is, I'll turn the chain over so you can see there, that's a V, rather than when you turn it over and there's the third part of the chain, which is that bump on the back. So I like to go into that, and because the first one for me is always a little tricky to get into, so that's that one just there, I use a smaller hook just to start me off. So going into that bump on the back, so that's going to be the first one, just like that, double crocheting, so that's just like that. And then I'm going to switch back to my normal hook, 3.5, and I'm going to be working into all those bumps along the back. And then once I've done the 94 chains, I'm going to be moving straight into the stitches on the body, the rest of the body. So I'll meet back up with you after I've done the chain, and we'll talk about moving on to the stitches. Alright, now that I've put in my double crochets along that chain, so there were 94 of those for me, I'm just going to go straight into the next stitch along at the front, so double crochets all the way up to the end of the round. So I'm going to complete these 46 at the front. Okay, here I am at the end of the round, and just to close the round, we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 from the beginning. So slip stitch to close the round, just like that. And like I said, what we do is we always chain up 2, chain up 2, turn the work. And like I said, I do that to stop the seam from drifting to the side and to maintain the back and forth pattern, continuity of the pattern. So we're doing that, and then double crochets back in the other direction, and just all the way around. You're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 again, turn the work, or chain up 2, turn the work. But what we do is, don't put your first stitch of the round into that stitch right beneath the chain of 2. So into that one there, don't go into that one, go into the next one along, because your final stitch of the round will be into that one just there, the joining one. At least that's what I do. I mean, you can do it differently if you want. I suppose it doesn't really matter, but that's just what I do. So not into that one beneath the chain 2, the next one along, and your final stitch into that last stitch just there. So that's what you're going to do. Now for me, 140 stitches should be enough to go over my hips. But if it's not, like if you need to increase it, what I do is I do 4 rounds, and then I see how it's going. And if I need to increase more, what I do is, because I like to increase gradually, and especially for this design, you'll need to increase gradually. You don't want it to be too frilly. So I would do 4 rounds, and then on the 5th round I would increase every 20th stitch. I would put an extra double crochet into every 20th stitch. So that's what I would be doing, but I don't think I will be needing to do that. If you need to do that, do that. But what we do at this point is we're going to be crocheting to a decent appropriate length. But then once we've done that, so I'd say, yeah, once we've done that, I'm going to try it on the dress form again. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. And then we're going to be doing something a little bit different, because obviously we need to create the Tinkerbell skirt, which, as you all know, or as we all know, is kind of jagged and sort of messy looking. So we're going to be creating that next. That's what we're getting into next. So yeah, once we've crocheted to an appropriate length, so I think you know what I mean by that, we'll meet back up and we'll talk about how we're going to create that Tinkerbell skirt. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now here we are, and as you can see, I've crocheted the skirt to an appropriate length. So it's a length I'm happy with. It's not too long, not too short. But what I've done now is I've marked out 7 lots of 20 along the hem. And that's where we're going to get started on turning the skirt into a Tinkerbell skirt. So yes, we're going to get started doing that now. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with the way this is turning out. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now, so I've cut the yarn and I've tied off the skirt for the moment, because if we continued on from where we left off, we'd be starting in the middle of where I've marked out one of the peaks should be, or one of the points, because I want a point to be right in the middle at the front, so this side seam wouldn't work out. So what we need to do is, I've cut the yarn, tied it off, we're just going to leave that for the moment. And see, I've already done here one of the peaks, so this is what it's going to look like. And we'll get started on doing a peak. Alright, so starting at the front, I'll start at the front one. It doesn't really matter where you start. And also make sure that, hang on a second, make sure that you're starting on the side that you meant to start on, because we're maintaining the back and forth continuity of the pattern. That means that you're not crocheting with the braided side facing you. You're going to be crocheting with the other side facing you. So there's the braided side just there, hang on, braided side just there, and the other side. So that's if you chained up and you turned, that's what it's going to be like. Alright, so starting with, we'll just start with this one here, which is the next one along from this one. So you put your hook through the stitch that you've marked out, so that's my first of the 20 that I've marked out for this peak point. I'm going to take out the stitch marker, don't need it. And we're going to find the end of our yarn, make a slip knot, adjust the knot to the hook and pull it through that stitch, and just like that, and then chain up 1. Chain up 1, and you're going to be pulling that loose end through the stitch later on, so that you can weave it in on the inside. I'll pull it through now, doesn't really matter, just like that. Okay, so yarn over, and you're going to be putting a double crochet right into that same stitch that you put the slip stitch, or that you put the slip knot into. So double crochet, and that is the first of 20 stitches along that you're going to do. So moving on to the next stitch, double crochet, double crochet without getting tangled, and then yes, complete 20 of these along. We'll meet back up and I'll show you what we're going to be doing next. Alright, here we are, and I've put my 20 double crochets across, so there to there. Now what we do next is we chain up 1 and we turn, and into the first stitch along we put a double crochet. So we're only chaining up 1 at the beginning, remember, so double crochet into the first stitch, so that one just there, double crochet. Then into the next stitch along you're going to do half a double crochet, begin a double crochet like this, so yarn over, pull through 2, leave that on the hook just like that, and then yarn over, go into the next stitch along, so the third stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, so you've got 3 loops on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. So you're crocheting 2 together at the beginning, then you're going to put in double crochets till you get to the 3rd last stitch of the row. Alright, now here I am at the 3rd last stitch, so once again we're decreasing, so yarn over, insert hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, leave that loop on the hook, like that, then yarn over into the next stitch, 2nd last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, so now you've got your 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and that's 2 together, and that's the 2nd last and the 3rd last stitch together, then into the last stitch at the end, just there, 1 single double crochet. Then so now you should have 18 stitches across, so you had 20 in the previous row, 18, so you're decreasing by 2 each row. So yeah, chain up 1, turn the work, and then just repeat that. So 1 double crochet into the 1st stitch, 1 into the 1st stitch along, then yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and leaving that loop on the hook, you yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then once you get to the 3rd last stitch, you're going to double crochet the 3rd and the 2nd last stitch together, and then just 1 double crochet into the very last stitch. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, just remember, decreasing by 2 each row, and that's what you're going to need to do. I think that's all I need to tell you for this dress. And once you've done all your points, peaks, points, just weave in the ends, and then you've finished. And that is how we are doing our Tinkerbell skirt. Simple as that. Alright, so I'm going to go away. I'm going to finish up all my points. I'm going to, obviously, at the end, once we're all done, we're going to try on our dresses. We're going to see how they look. I'm sure they're going to look great. I'm already really happy with the way this is turning out. Quite surprised by how well it's actually turning out, because it's almost exactly what I had in my mind, what I envisioned for it to look like. So where am I? Is that? Nope. Okay. And then 3rd last and 2nd last together, last stitch. Alright, I'm going to stop going on. Let's meet back up when we're finished. I'm very excited. Okay, see you soon. Alrighty, and here we are, all finished. So as you can see, I've gone with a variation of Tinkerbell this year for Halloween, so I hope that comes across. Yes, so I really love this design. I'm really happy with the way it's turned out, and as I said, I'm actually quite surprised by how well it turned out. I didn't think it'd be as good as this. So yeah, it's pretty much exactly what I pictured in my mind when I was thinking of this design. So yeah, it's really good. I'm not sure about the peaks for the skirt. I think I'll take those off and actually turn it into a much longer skirt, because I would like to wear this out at some point. Anyway, yes, so yeah, if you've commented, thanks for commenting. I hope you won. Yes, happy Halloween. I hope you're having a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.